Meet Kian Astor, known as Thousand Strings, a level 8 clan master whose reputation for quiet, immense power precedes every step he takes. Before reaching the peak of the capital's hierarchy, he faced the Level 7 certification exam. The objective was absolute: enter the Whispering Canyon and seal a high-density spatial gate before it could spill monsters into the kingdom. The association proctor expected a marathon. Sealing a tear of that density typically requires an 8-hour magical siege, marked by massive mana depletion and violent environmental damage. After 8 hours of total silence, Kian walked out of the gorge with perfectly clean clothes and zero fatigue. He simply told the proctor he had failed the exam and left the canyon behind. When the investigation team entered the canyon to record the failure, they found an impossibility. Kian hadn't just sealed the target. Exactly 100 separate spatial gates had been completely erased from the canyon floor. By wiping a 100 tiers from reality without leaving a single scratch on his armor, Kian presented the association with a feat that defied their existing records, forcing them to analyze his movements beat by beat. The investigation centered on 2 pieces of physical evidence recovered from the dirt: a cracked crystal and several shards of a broken mana mirror. This diagram illustrates the association's findings. The microscopic flaws within the cracked crystal functioned as a spatial vacuum, drawing ambient energy from the canyon inward. To prevent the crystal from detonating, Kian used the shards of the mana mirror to create a boundary, trapping the vacuum. The geometric overlay reveals that the shards were positioned at precise angles, creating a feedback loop reflecting the gravitational force back and forth. Once it reached a critical frequency, it collapsed into a localized black hole, consuming all 100 spatial gates in a single event. Tracing his steps to a merchant in the slums, the association concluded that Kian is a tactical mastermind. They believed he calculated the canyon's atmospheric density, located specific extinct garbage to trigger the vacuum, and disguised his brilliance as a simple act of charity for a starving man. For the association, the physical evidence pointed to a mastery of spatial magic and physics that the institution simply had no precedent for. The reality behind the report is that Kian Astor has 0 mana, no combat training, and spent the weeks leading up to the exam in a state of absolute, paralyzing terror. That charitable transaction happened because a merchant wouldn't stop crying about a broken cart while Kian was trying to sleep in an alley. He threw gold at the man to buy some silence and took the bag of garbage just to end the conversation. Inside the canyon, his strategy was pure avoidance. He found a flat rock as far from the monsters as possible and spent the entire 8 hours taking a nap. While he was asleep, the bag of junk simply rolled out of his pocket. The shards and the crystal tumbled into the dirt and accidentally settled into the exact positions needed to trigger a spatial collapse. Kian woke up completely unaware that a black hole had just done his work for him. He walked out, handed in his badge, and told the proctor the truth. He had done nothing and failed the exam. One of the most complex magical traps in history wasn't an engineering feat. It was the result of a lazy man rolling over in his sleep. The association viewed his failure as extreme humility. They bypassed Level 7 entirely and awarded Kian the world's very first double promotion to Level 8. At the public awarding ceremony, thousands of citizens cheered, while veteran warriors raised their swords in absolute respect for his tactical genius. Up on that stage, Kian was completely frozen. He was having a massive, silent panic attack as he finally connected the dots between his dropped bag of garbage and the missing canyon gates. A Level 8 badge is a legal trap. It means the Emperor can now draft him directly to the front lines to fight Calamity-class dragons and demon lords, threats that will actually kill him. Kian's attempt to lazily avoid a fight has left him at the absolute peak of the world's power structure. He is now the prisoner of his own accidental masterpiece.